John looked out the small window of his spacecraft. He could see the planet Zarian below. It was beautiful, glowing softly in colors of blue and green. John had always liked the quiet moments like this one, alone in space, away from the noise. And crowds of Earth thought he was an engineer on the spaceship Aurora. His job was to fix things when they stopped working. Today he was fixing a satellite that had stopped sending signals back to Earth. The satellite was important, helping humans learn about other planets far away. John put on his spacesuit carefully, checking all the connections twice. It was dangerous to go into space alone. One mistake could cost him his life. After making sure everything was working, he opened the hatch and floated out into the darkness. The satellite was bigger than John had imagined. He moved closer, holding onto the handles along its side. Carefully, he opened a small panel to look at the wires inside. Some were broken, and others looked burnt. It would take a few hours to fix. While working, something shiny caught John's eye. It was floating not far from him, looking like a small ship. John wondered what it was doing here, so far from Earth and any human ships. Feeling curious, he decided to take a closer look. John floated carefully toward the strange ship. As he got closer, he saw it wasn't human-made. It had smooth sides and soft curves, very different from human spaceships. A small door was slightly open, as if inviting him inside. He hesitated for a moment. His heart was beating faster now. John knew stories of humans meeting aliens, but he'd never imagined being the first to find one. Slowly, he pushed the door, opened further, and entered the ship. Inside was dark, but small lights softly glowed on the walls. John moved carefully, looking around. Everything seemed quiet and empty. But then he heard a small noise, like someone breathing. His heart raced even faster as he followed the sound. In a small room at the back of the ship, John saw her. She was sitting on the floor, leaning against the wall. She looked hurt. Her eyes were big and bright, shining softly in the dim light. Her skin was pale blue, almost glowing. She seemed scared when she saw John, moving back a little. "It's okay," John said softly, holding his hands out to show he meant no harm. "I won't hurt you." She looked at him closely, breathing quickly. Her eyes moved slowly over John's face, as if trying to understand who he was and what he wanted. "Why? Are you here?" she asked softly, her voice gentle but filled with fear. "I saw your ship," John explained gently. "I came to see if anyone needed help. You look hurt." She touched her arm gently, looking down. John saw a dark spot on her blue skin. She seemed to be in pain. "Can I help you?" John asked, moving slowly closer. "We have medicine on my ship. It can help you feel better." She looked at John again, her eyes filled with questions. After a moment, she nodded slowly. John gently helped her stand up. She was weak and leaned heavily on him. He was careful, guiding her slowly out of her ship and back toward the Aurora. The journey felt longer now, with her small body trembling slightly next to him. When they reached John's ship, he helped her sit down on a bed in a small room. Quickly, he found the medicine and gently put it on her injured arm. She winced a little but said nothing. "Thank you," she whispered after a moment, looking at John. Her eyes seemed warmer now, less afraid. "You're welcome," John said, smiling softly. "What's your name?" "Lyra," she answered quietly. "And yours?" "I'm John," he said. She nodded, repeating his name softly, John. They were quiet for a moment. John wanted to ask more questions, but saw Lyra was very tired. He decided to let her rest. "Sleep now," he said gently. "You're safe here." Lyra looked at him again, her eyes thoughtful. "Why are you looking at me like that, human?" she asked softly. John paused, unsure what she meant. He hadn't realized how. Intently, he'd been watching her. "I guess I'm curious," he admitted softly. "I've never met someone like you before." Lyra seemed to think about this. "Neither have I," she said quietly. Her voice sounded less frightened now, A little stronger. John smiled again, feeling warmth in his chest. He knew this was a special moment, something he'd never forget. But he also knew there would be many questions to answer soon, both from his captain and from Lyra. "Rest," John said again gently. Lyra nodded, her eyes slowly closing. Soon she was breathing softly, peacefully asleep. John watched her for another moment, feeling amazed at everything that had just happened. He stepped quietly from the room, leaving the door open just a little. As he walked away, he knew everything was about to change, for him, for Lyra, and maybe even for everyone back on Earth. The ship was quiet now, and John knew he should rest too, but his mind was full of thoughts and questions. He went back to the small window, looking out again at the planet Zarian. It still glowed beautifully below, but now it meant something different. He wondered what would happen next. How would the crew of Aurora react to Lyra? Would they accept her? Would there be problems? John didn't have answers yet, but he felt hopeful. He'd found someone new, someone different, and somehow it felt important. With a deep breath, he decided to rest, knowing tomorrow would bring many new challenges and adventures. John woke early, his thoughts quickly returning to Lyra. After getting dressed, he quietly made his way toward the room where he'd left her. His heart beat faster with every step, unsure what he might find. When he reached the door, he found it still slightly open, just as he'd left it. Inside, Lyra was already awake. She was sitting up, looking at the small window at the stars beyond. When she heard John enter, she turned slowly and offered him a faint smile. "Good morning," John said gently, careful not to startle her. "Good morning," Lyra replied softly, her voice clearer than before. She looked stronger today, more alert. "Did you sleep well?" John asked kindly, taking a seat across from her. "Yes," Lyra nodded, still cautious. "Thank you again for helping me. I'm glad I could help," John said, meaning every word. He paused, thinking carefully before continuing. "Can you tell me what happened to your ship? Why were you alone out there?" Lyra hesitated, looking down at her hands for a moment. "I was on a mission," she finally said. "My people, the Sarin, had heard signals coming from this area. We thought humans were planning to attack us again." John felt surprise. "Attack? Humans never wanted war. Our people only defended themselves." Lyra looked at him, confusion and doubt clear in her eyes. "My people tell a different story," she said quietly. John took a deep breath, understanding how easily stories could be twisted. "Maybe there's a lot we both don't know." She nodded slowly, her eyes thoughtful. "Perhaps. You're right." Just then, a voice sounded over the ship's speaker. It was Captain Ellen. "John, please report to the control room immediately." John glanced at Lyra, feeling nervous. "I'll be back soon," he promised. "Please stay here. You're safe." Lyra nodded, watching him closely as he hurried away. When John entered the control room, Captain Ellen stood waiting with other crew members. Her eyes were serious. "John," she began firmly, "we detected another alien ship heading our way. It seems they're looking for something or someone." John's heart sank. It must be Lyra's people. She's scared of them. She thinks humans attacked first. Captain Ellen sighed. "We need to speak to her now." "She must explain what's happening." John nodded, quickly returning to Lyra's room. She looked worried, sensing something was wrong. "Your people are coming," John said gently. "They're searching for you. Captain Ellen needs to speak with you." Lyra stood slowly, clearly nervous. "Will they hurt me?" "No," John assured her quickly. "I'll make sure you're safe. Trust me." She hesitated for just a moment before nodding. Together, they walked back to the control room. Captain Ellen studied Lyra carefully when they arrived. "Your people are approaching. We don't want conflict, but we need to understand why they're here." Lyra straightened, taking a deep breath. "They think you kidnapped me," she said firmly. "They will be angry." John stepped closer, speaking gently. Can you contact them? Explain we didn't hurt you. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. Captain Ellen quickly prepared the communication system, giving Lyra a moment to gather her courage. This is Lyra, she began carefully, her voice trembling slightly. I'm safe. The humans helped me. They mean us no harm. A tense silence filled the room before a harsh voice replied, angry and suspicious. Lyra, have they forced you to say this? Lyra shook her head quickly, even though the other Sauron couldn't see her. No, they saved my life. They treated my wounds. I trust them. Another pause. Longer this time. We will come aboard and see for ourselves, the voice finally declared. John felt uneasy, but he knew there was no choice. Captain Ellen gave orders to prepare the Aurora for visitors. Soon, the Sauron ship docked with theirs. The door opened, revealing several tall figures with pale blue skin like Lyra's. They looked strong and serious, scanning the Aurora crew. Carefully, their leader stepped forward, looking directly at Lyra. Are you truly unharmed? Yes, Lyra answered clearly, standing tall and brave. The humans have been kind. The leader turned his gaze to John, studying him carefully. Why did you help her? John met his eyes without hesitation. She needed help. That's reason enough. The leader seemed surprised by this simple answer. Humans are usually afraid of us. John smiled slightly. Maybe we're both afraid because we don't understand each other. Lyra stepped closer, looking hopeful. He's right. Maybe we can find understanding instead of fear. The Sauron leader considered this carefully. We will speak further, he decided. Perhaps peace is possible. John felt relief wash over him. Captain. Ellen agreed quickly, arranging a meeting for discussions. After the Sauron left, Lyra turned to John, smiling softly. Thank you again, John. You showed great courage. You showed courage too, John replied gently. It's hard speaking up for peace, she nodded, her eyes warm. Maybe now our people can learn from each other. I hope so, John agreed. Together. They returned to Lyra's room, feeling calmer but aware of the difficult talks ahead. Lyra sat down, tired but hopeful. You should rest again, John suggested kindly. I feel better, Lyra said quietly. Stronger, thanks to you, John smiled warmly, sitting nearby. I'm glad. Lyra was quiet for a long moment before looking up again. You still look at me strangely, John. He laughed softly, a little embarrassed. Sorry. I guess I'm just amazed. Amazed? Lyra asked curiously. Yes, John said gently. Meeting you changed everything for me. I never imagined something like this. Lyra considered this, her eyes thoughtful. I feel the same. Meeting you made me think differently about humans. John smiled warmly, happy that they met. I'm glad we found each other. So am I, Lyra said softly, her voice gentle and sincere. As they sat quietly, John wondered what would happen next. The road ahead was uncertain, but he felt hopeful. Humans and the Sauron could learn from each other, growing stronger together. All thanks to a simple act of kindness. Lyra's eyes slowly closed again, feeling safe and trusting now. John stayed a while longer, watching her rest peacefully. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew they would face them together. And somehow, that made everything seem possible. John and Lyra spent the next days quietly learning about each other. John showed Lyra the Aurora, teaching her about the tools and machines humans use every day. She listened carefully, asking many questions. Every new answer seemed to build more trust between them. Lyra also taught John about the Sauron people, describing her home planet and its customs. John learned that the Sauron valued honesty and respect above everything else. He understood better why Lyra had been cautious at first. Trust was something that had to be earned. One afternoon, John took Lyra to the Aurora's observation deck, a large room with huge windows looking out into space. They sat together, watching the stars. John pointed to one bright star, smiling. Softly, that one is Earth, he said gently. It's my home. Lyra studied the star thoughtfully. It looks small from here. Everything seems small from far away, John said, smiling softly. But it's full of life, people, cities, forests, and oceans. Do you miss it? Lyra asked quietly. Sometimes, John admitted, but I love exploring. Space always has new things to show us, like meeting you. Lyra smiled warmly, her eyes bright. I like exploring too. My people travel far, but we never expected to find humans again. At least not peacefully. Why did your people fear us so? Much? John asked carefully. Lyra hesitated, looking away briefly. Years ago, humans and the Sauron fought. We lost many of our people. Our stories say humans attacked first, without reason. John shook his head gently. Our stories say the opposite. Humans believe the Sauron attacked first. Maybe both. Sides were afraid, misunderstanding each other. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, maybe we both saw danger because we were afraid. They sat quietly, each lost in thought for a moment. Finally, Lyra turned to John again, looking serious. Maybe. Now we can change that story, she suggested hopefully. John smiled warmly, feeling encouraged. I think we already have. That evening, John decided to introduce Lyra to more of the Aurora crew. He knew many of them still felt uneasy about her. He hoped that they got to know Lyra, they would see her as he did kind, thoughtful, and brave. At dinner, Lyra walked slowly into the dining area, staying close to John. Crew members watched her carefully, clearly unsure. John encouraged her gently, leading her to a seat near Captain Ellen. Captain Ellen nodded politely. Good evening, Lyra. I hope you're comfortable aboard our ship. Thank you, Lyra replied softly. Everyone has been kind. The captain smiled slightly, looking at John. John tells us you've been learning about humans. Yes, Lyra said, more confident now. I've learned many good things. Humans value kindness and helping others. Some crew members looked surprised, but others smiled softly, warming up to Lyra's sincerity. Soon, the crew was asking Lyra questions about her planet, curious to learn more. Lyra answered patiently, growing more comfortable with each conversation. John felt proud, seeing the crew's attitude slowly change. By the end of dinner, the atmosphere was lighter, filled with quiet conversations and even gentle laughter. Lyra looked relieved, smiling warmly at John. They like you, John whispered encouragingly. Thanks to you. Lyra replied softly. As days passed, John and Lyra continued teaching each other new things. Lyra especially loved learning about Earth's animals and plants. She asked endless questions, fascinated by the diversity and beauty John described. One afternoon, John found Lyra staring at images of a forest, her eyes wide with wonder. It's beautiful, she whispered softly. I've never seen anything like it. Maybe someday you will, John suggested gently. Perhaps our people can visit each other's worlds someday. Lyra looked hopeful, smiling warmly. I would like that very much. Suddenly, an alarm sounded, loud and sharp. The peaceful moment shattered instantly. John quickly checked the communication screen. A message flashed urgently. Another Sauron ship had arrived, larger and more powerful. Captain Ellen's voice echoed over the speakers. All crew to stations immediately. John and Lyra, please report to the bridge. Lyra looked worried, quickly. Following John to the bridge, Captain Ellen stood calmly but with clear concern on her face. The new Sauron ship is powerful, she explained firmly. They have requested immediate communication. Lyra stepped forward bravely. Let me speak with them. Perhaps I can help. Captain Ellen agreed quickly. Lyra took a deep breath, steadying herself. This is Lyra, she began carefully. Speaking clearly, please identify yourselves. A strong voice answered sharply. This is Commander Varos. Lyra, you are to return immediately. Humans are not our allies. Lyra shook her head even though Varos couldn't see her. Commander, the humans help me. They want peace. Varos sounded angry. They tricked you. They cannot be trusted. Lyra spoke firmly now, clearly determined. I trust them. Please, Commander, speak with them yourself. Varros hesitated briefly before agreeing. Very well. Humans, I will come aboard your ship. But any sign of trickery will result in immediate consequences. The communication ended abruptly. John felt tense but hopeful. He turned to Lyra, seeing her worry clearly. You did well. He said softly, encouragingly. I hope Varros listens, Lyra whispered nervously. He is very powerful and respected. Then we will show him respect and honesty, John assured her firmly. Soon Varros and several Saran arrived aboard. The Aurora. The atmosphere was tense. Varros immediately approached Lyra, examining her carefully. You seem unharmed, Varros admitted grudgingly. Yes, Commander, Lyra confirmed bravely. The humans have shown kindness and respect. Varros turned sharply to Captain Ellen. Explain your actions, human. Captain Ellen spoke clearly and calmly. We saw Lyra was injured. We helped her because it was the right thing to do. We want peace between our people. Varros seemed to consider this carefully. His eyes narrowed suspiciously. Words are easy. How can we know you speak truth? Lyra stepped forward gently. I have seen it myself. Humans are not what we were told. Perhaps we were wrong. Varros hesitated, looking carefully at Lyra's sincere expression, and then at John's calm eyes. I will need more proof, Varros finally decided firmly. We will continue speaking. But understand this, if humans betray us again, there will be no more chances. Captain Ellen nodded respectfully. We understand, Commander. We will prove our sincerity. Varros and the other Saran left, returning to their ship. Everyone aboard Aurora relaxed slightly, relieved the meeting had ended peacefully. Lyra looked tired but encouraged. She smiled gratefully at John. Thank you, John. Your kindness has changed so much already. John smiled softly, feeling warmth. Feel his chest. We did it together. And we'll keep working to build trust. Lyra nodded, determined and hopeful. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, ready to create a better future for both their peoples. After Commander Varros left, the Aurora crew began preparing for more talks with the Saran. John could see worry on Lyra's face. He understood why. She wanted peace, but knew how easily trust could break. Over the next few days, Captain Ellen and her team worked hard, gathering information about past meetings between humans and the Saran. John helped as much as he could, spending hours reviewing old records. Each record confirmed what he already suspected. Fear and misunderstanding had caused past conflicts. Lyra stayed close to John, quietly helping where she could. Her presence comforted him, and John knew his friendship helped her too. He often found Lyra deep in thought, clearly worried about the future. One afternoon, John and Lyra sat alone in the quiet observation room again. The stars outside seemed calm, so different from the tension they felt inside. What are you thinking about? John asked gently, noticing Lyra's thoughtful expression. Lyra looked at him seriously. I worry about Varros. He respects strength and bravery, but he mistrusts easily. John nodded understandingly. We must show him humans are trustworthy. But how? Lyra thought carefully before speaking. Varros respects courage and sacrifice. If we show him our sincerity clearly, he might believe us. John considered her words. How can we do that? I'm not sure yet, Lyra admitted. Quietly, but we must find a way. Suddenly, an urgent call came from the control room. Captain Ellen's voice sounded tense. John, Lyra, please come immediately. Commander Varros is calling again. They hurried to the control room. The screen showed Varros' stern face, waiting impatiently. Lyra, Varros began firmly, we have intercepted another human ship nearby. Explain this? Captain Ellen looked surprised. Commander Varros, we have no other ships in this area. There must be a mistake. Varros frowned deeply. We do not make mistakes, Captain. Another human ship approaches rapidly. We will defend ourselves if necessary. Lyra quickly spoke up. her voice clear. Please wait, Commander. Let us investigate first. It might be a misunderstanding. Varros paused briefly, clearly unhappy. Very well. You have 1 hour. Then we will act. The screen went dark. Captain Ellen immediately gave orders. Check. For all ships nearby. We must find out what's happening. John and Lyra helped search the records and sensors. Soon, they discovered something strange. The approaching ship had a human signal, but it was unknown to Aurora. Captain Ellen looked concerned. We need to contact them and learn their intentions, John agreed quickly. Lyra stood nearby, visibly nervous. If they attack the Sarin, trust will be lost again. John reassured her gently. We won't let that happen. Aurora quickly contacted the mysterious ship. Moments later, a new face appeared on the screen. It was Captain Blake, leader of a smaller private human ship. Captain Ellen, Blake greeted cautiously. We detected alien ships near you. Are you safe? Captain Ellen answered calmly. We're safe, Captain Blake. These aliens are the Sarin. We are negotiating. Peace. Please hold your position. Captain Blake frowned slightly. The Sarin? They attacked humans before. Lyra stepped forward bravely. We want peace now. Humans, help me. We seek trust, not conflict. Captain Blake studied Lyra carefully, before nodding slowly. Very well. We will hold position and wait. John felt relief, but they had little time left. Quickly, they informed Varros about Captain Blake's peaceful intentions. Varros still seemed unsure. Trust comes slowly. Varros warned firmly. We will watch closely. After the tense conversation, Lyra sighed softly, clearly relieved but still concerned. We were lucky this time. John nodded gently. We must stay careful and patient. Trust needs time. Hours later, Captain Blake and his crew joined Aurora for further discussions. Varros agreed to listen, but stayed wary. John and Lyra hoped this meeting could build trust further. Captain Blake spoke respectfully. We came exploring. Humans want peace too. Our past fears cause misunderstanding. Varros listened carefully but remained cautious. Actions speak louder than words. Lyra quickly suggested something. What if humans and Sarin explored together? Learning together could build trust. Varros thought quietly before nodding slowly. That idea has merit. Joint exploration could test our sincerity. Captain Ellen smiled encouragingly. We agree. Let us choose a location and begin. Soon, humans and Sarin chose a nearby planet to explore together. Varros allowed Lyra and John to join, representing the bond already formed. Captain Blake's crew joined too, hopeful and determined. As they traveled to the new planet, John felt excitement and worry. This mission could change history, proving trust possible between humans and Sarin. The planet was beautiful, covered in lush forests and clear lakes. Humans and Sarin teams worked together, exploring side by side. Varros watched closely, seeing humans' kindness and bravery repeatedly. One day, while exploring a dense forest, danger suddenly appeared. A large creature, powerful and aggressive, attacked unexpectedly. Lyra fell, trapped beneath a fallen tree branch. She cried out in pain. Without hesitation, John rushed forward, risking his life to free her. Varros watched in surprise as John carefully lifted the heavy branch, ignoring the danger around him. Finally, John pulled Lyra free. Are you all right? John asked gently, worry clear in his voice. Lyra nodded shakily, breathing deeply. You saved me again. Varros approached. Slowly, his eyes thoughtful. You risked your life for her. John stood bravely, facing Varros. Of course. Lyra is my friend. Varros considered John carefully, clearly impressed. Perhaps humans truly can be trusted. Lyra smiled warmly, hopeful again. We can learn much from each other, Commander. Varros finally nodded, clearly convinced. Yes, perhaps we can. After returning to Aurora, Varros spoke respectfully to Captain Ellen. Your people showed great courage. Trust is possible now. Captain Ellen smiled warmly. Thank you, Commander. We will continue working together. As Varos and the Sarin prepared to leave, Lyra spoke softly to John. Thank you, John. You changed everything for us. John smiled gently. We did it together. Trust starts with small actions. Lyra nodded gratefully. Small actions build strong bridges. John agreed warmly, feeling proud and hopeful. Together, they watched the Sarin ship depart, knowing this was only the beginning. Now, humans and Sarin could look forward to peaceful interactions, built carefully with patience and trust. John felt hopeful, understanding how powerful kindness and bravery could be as Aurora prepared to leave. John stood quietly with Lyra again, watching the peaceful stars. He knew the future remained uncertain, but together, they had made peace possible. They had proven trust and understanding could grow, no matter how small the first step. John felt a great sense of calm after the meeting with Varos, yet he knew their journey was far from over. Trust had begun, but it needed constant care to grow stronger. Aurora had left a peaceful planet behind, returning to space to continue their mission. Lyra spent more time with the crew, feeling comfortable and safe among them now. They welcomed her warmly, often asking her questions about her life and the Sarin people. Each day, friendships deepened, bridging the gap between two very different worlds. One morning, Captain Ellen called John and Lyra into the control room. Her expression was serious but hopeful. We received a message from Earth, Captain Ellen explained clearly. They heard about our progress with the Sarin and want us to visit a neutral space station. Humans and Sarin representatives will meet there to discuss peace officially. Lyra looked hopeful, glancing at John. This is good news. John nodded, feeling encouraged but cautious. We must be careful. This meeting must go well. Captain Ellen agreed. We will leave immediately. Preparation and caution are key. Aurora quickly headed toward the neutral space station. During the journey, the crew prepared carefully, making sure they were ready for every possibility. Lyra spent hours explaining more details about Sarin customs and diplomacy, helping everyone understand their visitors better. When Aurora finally reached the station, everyone felt nervous excitement. The large space station looked peaceful but busy, filled with ships from many different worlds. John and Lyra walked together, joined by Captain Ellen and other crew members, to meet the Sarin representatives. Varos arrived first, looking calm but serious. He greeted Captain Ellen respectfully, acknowledging John and Lyra warmly. It is good to see trust growing stronger, Varos stated sincerely. Soon, human representatives from Earth arrived too. They greeted everyone politely, clearly eager to start peaceful discussions. John watched closely, feeling hopeful as representatives from both sides began speaking carefully and respectfully. As the talks progressed, Lyra often spoke, gently guiding the conversation with patience and wisdom. John admired her courage, noticing the respect both humans and Sarin showed her. Varos listened closely, clearly valuing her words. After many long discussions, a break was called. John and Lyra stepped aside, relieved but tired. You did very well, John said encouragingly. Lyra smiled softly, grateful for his support. We must keep being patient. Peace takes time. Just then, Captain Ellen approached them, looking worried. John, Lyra, we just learned there is another Sarin ship nearby, sending signals that are not peaceful. They might try to disrupt these talks. Lyra frowned, concerned. They fear peace, seeing it as weakness. Varos joined them, overhearing the conversation. I know this ship. Their commander, Solon, believes humans cannot be trusted. He fears betrayal and weakness. Captain, Ellen looked at Varos seriously. Can you speak with him? Explain our intentions? Varos nodded firmly. I will try, but Solon is difficult. Quickly, Varos contacted Solon, hoping to reason with him. Solon's stern face appeared on the screen, clearly angry. Varos, Solon began harshly. Humans tricked you. Peace is impossible. Varro spoke calmly but strongly. Solon, I have seen humans act bravely and with honor. We must try peace for our future. Solon shook his head stubbornly. No, Varros, they will betray us again. John stepped forward. Surprising Solon. Commander Solon, humans made mistakes before, just like the Sauron did. Fear caused misunderstanding. But now we must choose peace over fear. Solon hesitated, studying John closely. You speak bravely, human, but bravery can be foolishness. Lyra moved beside John, her voice gentle but firm. Commander John saved my life more than once. He risked everything for peace. Is that foolishness? Solon remained quiet, clearly conflicted. Finally, he sighed deeply. Your words hold some truth, Lyra, but I will watch closely. If humans show betrayal, I will act. The conversation ended abruptly. Varro sighed softly. Solon is stubborn, but perhaps your words reached him. Captain Ellen nodded gratefully. We must remain careful but hopeful. The talks continued. Careful and respectful again. Days passed, slowly building trust between humans and Sauron. Solon watched closely from his ship, still unsure. One afternoon, a sudden emergency alarm sounded throughout the station. A human ship had mechanical trouble, spinning dangerously close to the station. If it crashed, it could damage everything, destroying all hopes for peace. Quickly, Aurora's crew and Sauron rushed to help. Together, they worked to stabilize the damaged ship, but time was running out. John knew he had to act fast. I must. Go outside and fix the ship, John said bravely. Lyra looked worried, grasping his arm gently. It's dangerous, John. I know, John replied calmly, but I must try. Quickly, John suited up and went outside, carefully moving toward the damaged ship. His heart beat fast, understanding the risk he took. Carefully, he repaired the damage, knowing every second mattered. Lyra watched anxiously, silently hoping. For John's safety. Varros and Solon watched too, seeing John's courage and determination clearly. Finally, John finished, and the ship slowly stabilized, danger avoided. Everyone felt deep relief. When John safely returned, Lyra embraced him warmly, her voice filled with gratitude. You did it, John. You saved everyone. Varros approached John respectfully. Your bravery proved human sincerity clearly. Peace is truly possible. Solon contacted them too. His voice changed, respectful and calmer. I watched closely. Humans showed true courage and honor. I was wrong. Captain Ellen thanked everyone warmly. This moment shows what we can achieve together. As the peace talks concluded successfully, John felt great pride and happiness. Humans and Sauron signed a peace agreement, promising cooperation and friendship. Lyra stood beside John, smiling brightly. You made this possible, she said softly. John smiled warmly. We all did it together. Trust and courage won. As Aurora prepared to leave, John and Lyra stood once more, watching stars together, feeling hopeful about the future. They knew trust took patience and bravery, but peace was worth every effort. John looked at Lyra gently, feeling grateful for their friendship and hopeful about the peaceful path they had built. Together, they had proven trust and understanding could overcome fear and uncertainty. Now, both humans and Sauron could move forward together, exploring the future side by side. After the successful peace talks, Aurora headed toward Earth. Everyone on the ship felt happy and proud. Humans and Sauron had made peace, ending years of misunderstanding and fear. John and Lyra spent time together, talking about everything that had happened. John knew Earth would soon learn of their success. He hoped people would welcome this new friendship warmly. Lyra, however, felt nervous. She worried humans might fear or reject her. Do you think humans will accept me? Lyra asked John quietly one evening as they watched the stars from the observation deck. John smiled softly, trying to comfort her. They will, Lyra. Humans value peace and friendship. You helped create both. Lyra sighed gently, still uncertain. But they remember our conflicts. Fear can linger. True, John admitted gently. But we showed them peace is stronger. Trust takes time, but we've begun that journey. Lyra nodded thoughtfully, comforted by John's words. A few days later, Aurora reached Earth's orbit. Many ships waited to greet them, showing excitement and curiosity about the historic peace agreement. Aurora docked at a large station above Earth, where human leaders and news reporters eagerly awaited them. John, Lyra, Captain Ellen, and Varros prepared carefully. They knew this moment would shape future relationships between humans and the SAREN. They stepped into the meeting area. Cameras flashed brightly. Reporters asked many questions quickly, eager to understand everything clearly. Lyra felt nervous, but John gently encouraged her. Human leaders greeted Varros and Lyra respectfully, thanking them for their courage. Varros spoke first, clear and confident. Our peoples chose peace, ending fear and misunderstanding. Trust begins now. Next, Lyra spoke softly, but clearly. I learned humans value bravery, kindness, and friendship. Our future together can be bright. The crowd applauded warmly, clearly moved by her sincerity. John felt proud, seeing people welcome Lyra warmly. Captain Ellen and other human leaders spoke too, praising the peace and promising cooperation. After the meeting, John showed Lyra around the space station. She marveled at its size and beauty. Humans and Sarin mingled comfortably, speaking openly and smiling warmly at each other. Lyra looked relieved, smiling at John gratefully. You were right. Humans are welcoming and kind. John nodded gently. Peace brings out the best in people. Soon, Earth leaders invited Lyra and Varros to visit the planet's surface. Lyra felt excited and anxious, never imagining she would see Earth up close. John promised to join her, supporting her fully. They traveled down together, landing near a large city filled with tall buildings and busy streets. People gathered eagerly, hoping to glimpse the Sarin visitors' dot as Lyra stepped out. Humans smiled and waved warmly. Children approached curiously, asking friendly questions. Lyra answered patiently, enjoying the kindness everyone showed her. Varros observed carefully, clearly impressed. Humans show great kindness and curiosity. John smiled warmly, feeling proud. They want peace as much as we do. During their visit, Lyra learned about Earth's culture, visiting museums, parks, and schools. Everywhere, people welcomed her warmly, eager to learn about her world too. Varros watched closely, slowly growing more comfortable and hopeful. One evening, John took Lyra to a quiet park, away from the crowds. They sat near a beautiful lake, enjoying peaceful silence. I never imagined Earth would be so beautiful, Lyra whispered softly. It's even better now because you're here, John replied gently, feeling warmth in his chest. Lyra smiled softly, feeling deeply happy. You showed me the kindness and courage humans possess. I'll always remember that. John nodded gently, smiling warmly. And you taught me trust and bravery. You changed my life too, Lyra. Lyra looked deeply into John's eyes, her own, shining warmly. We changed each other, creating peace together. Days passed happily, filled with new experiences and growing trust. Varros spoke with human leaders, planning future cooperation and shared exploration. Both sides were eager to work together, seeing a bright future ahead. But one evening, troubling news reached them. Another Sarin faction opposed to peace had attacked a small human colony far away. The attack threatened everything they had built. Varros spoke seriously, clearly troubled. We must act quickly, proving our commitment to peace. Captain Ellen agreed strongly. We will go there together, stopping the conflict before it spreads. John and Lyra quickly prepared to leave with Aurora. They knew the journey would be difficult but necessary. Lyra felt anxious but determined. We must protect this peace, Lyra said bravely. John nodded firmly. Together we can do it. Aurora traveled quickly, reaching the troubled colony days later. They saw damaged buildings and frightened people. The attackers had already left, but fear remained strong. John, Lyra, Captain Ellen, and Varro spoke gently to the survivors, promising help and protection. Humans saw Varros and Lyra sincerely helping, quickly understanding not all Sauron were enemies. They helped repair damage, caring for injured colonists. Slowly, trust returned. Varros contacted the attacking Sauron faction, firmly demanding peace. After difficult negotiations, the attackers finally agreed to talks, understanding their isolation. Varros spoke firmly. Peace must unite all Sauron. Violence is our past, not our future. Finally, the attackers agreed, seeing peace's strength clearly. Slowly, understanding grew. The conflict ended peacefully. Returning to Earth, John and Lyra felt deeply relieved. They had protected peace, proving trust's strength clearly. Humans and Sauron praised their courage warmly. Earth welcomed them joyfully. People celebrated the peace, deeply thankful to John, Lyra, and Varros. Human leaders praised their bravery, promising continued friendship and cooperation. That evening, John and Lyra stood quietly again, looking at Earth glowing softly beneath them. Lyra smiled warmly, feeling deeply hopeful. Peace survived because of our courage and trust, Lyra said softly. John nodded gently. Together, we prove fear can become understanding. Enemies can become friends. Lyra smiled gently, grateful and happy. I hope humans and Sauron remain friends forever. They will, John replied warmly, because trust and peace always win. Together, they watched Earth below, feeling hopeful about their future. Trust had grown strong, proving peace was possible. John and Lyra had changed history, their courage and friendship overcoming fear and conflict. Both humans and Sauron moved forward together, exploring the universe side by side, united by trust, bravery, and lasting peace.